guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers, Blowers, Guns. As a newbie rifle owner, I have a question for all you guys, and I'm going to try to solve that question today. But why don't you tell me what your opinion is? Do you need to disassemble and take apart your bolt carrier group and clean the firing pin and the inner assembly of this bolt carrier group? This bolt carrier group is from my AR-9 on an AR-15 platform. It shoots Glock mags and 9mm bullets. I've only used this rifle once, and I shot about 130 rounds. So I always asked my friend, I said, hey, do I need to take this cotter pin out, take the firing pin out, an extractor, and thoroughly clean the inner part of it? Because it looks like that you got to take apart some stuff, you know what I mean? And he says he does it all the time. I've read some forums where people say, nah, it's not necessary. Just blow solvent through the hole, clean the inner parts, use an air compressor and blow out all the debris and stuff, and it should be fine. But the firing pin mechanism is very important. When I cleaned this gun after my shooting range event, I used some gun cleaner from my friends over at Lubricate. They also have this CLP, which cleans, lubricates, and protects firearms as well. This stuff is fantastic because there's a lubricative solvent inside this one. So this also cleans as well. Kind of like this, but it has some oil in it, you know? This stuff is some great stuff. You could just get a can of this and do everything. So today I'm going to take apart my AR-9 bolt carrier group and find out, after I cleaned it, how dirty it is without actually taking the fire pin out and cleaning it. Same goes for my Smith & Wesson M&P15 22 long rifle plinker. I just shot about 200 rounds last weekend with this. And while I cleaned both guns thoroughly, right, trigger group, barrel, everything, upper receiver, I never took apart the bolt carrier group to clean. So I want to find out today how dirty it is if you didn't clean it. So let's start with the bolt carrier group from the AR-9. The AR-9 bolt carrier group is different from the AR-15, 223 or 5.56 chambered types. It's similar, more similar to it than this, but as you can see, you got two hex bolts that hold this on. I'm not even really too sure what that is. Is that what's called the extractor, possibly? But I don't see the thing that extracts it, you know? But that's the hole that I blew a lot of stuff through, and supposedly, and I oiled the rails here. This is where the sliding motion goes. And of course, as you can see, here is the firing pin mechanism. So it is just a cotter pin over here. Easy to pull out. And something just fell, as you can hear. I hope I can put this back together. Okay, so it's spring-loaded. And there's the firing pin. Guys, that looks very clean to me. I've never taken this apart, as you can tell, and it is spotless. So all I did was blow gun cleaner through this hole. I'm going to do it again right now just to clean it out some more since I have it apart. That hole right there where the pin comes through, when the hammer hits the pin. Henry, you're making a mess. Well, that's okay. And then I'll blow the hole right there. I have cardboard on the floor, fellas. And I think that's about it. That's all there is to it. There's a more hardened pin that goes in here. This is called a roll pin. You actually have to have like a punch or something to punch that out. I'm not going to do that. Looks pretty solid to me, if you ask me. You know, I don't think any gunpowder gets in there, right? It's solid. It's in there. This is like a weight, you know? So I don't think you have to do that. I mean, so it looks pretty clean to me. You can see the firing pin is spotless. So right now, if you ask me the question, do I have to take it apart? and clean the firing pin and the bolt carrier group mechanism, I would say no. But then again, I have only shot, 130 rounds out of this, Be more thorough. I'm going to put some gun cleaner on a Q-tip, and I'm going to stick it through this hole here and clean out the area where the firing pin is. Apparently it doesn't go all the way in because it's too narrow. But look, there's no dark powder on there at all. It's just a solvent, which means that it's clean after I blew it out. So you know what? I'm just gonna stick that back in, and we'll be done. However, I want to make sure that when I stick the pin in there, does it hold it there? Yeah. It does. Okay, so that's all it does, is it holds it there in place. Maybe it's this side. It is this side with the depression in it. So, I would say I didn't need to clean the firing pin out of this BCG because it only has 130 rounds on it. Maybe if you shot 1,000 rounds or 2,000 rounds, that might be a different story. But since I took that apart and you saw, just by blowing solvent through the hole here and letting it drip down and blowing it with an air compressor, it was crystal clear and clean. So to answer the question on this one here, I would say no. This is a 22 long rifle, like I said, Smith & Wesson M&P15 22. This is the bolt carrier group for that. It looks way different, as you can see. It doesn't have a cotter pin, rather it has a roll pin in there. And this is where you put it in. On the other side, there's a rail here that blocks the hole halfway, so you couldn't even get a punch in there to get the roll pin out to remove the firing pin. So after studying this for a few minutes, you can see the spring mechanisms over here with the two rails that it rides on, right? To remove that roll pin, you'd have to get that rail out of the way so you can punch the roll pin out. So when you compress this spring, this one here, you can see that this thing moves. When this thing moves up, you can kind of take that out of the groove there. I've never done this before, so I'm a little freaked out, to be honest with you. I just hope I remember how to put this back, And this thing, I'm going to keep the orientation as I take it out. So it comes out like that. And this thing slides out like this. And as you can see, now you have access to that roll pin. So I'm going to find a punch, something really thin. If I don't have a punch, you could probably find a nail or something that is the same diameter as the hole, just to get that punch out. This is the extractor over here. This is the little hook that hooks onto the rim of the round and pulls it out. As you look here, there is some gunpowder residue right in the groove where the extractor hook and the hole is. Look at that. So that was some debris there that I neglected to see or clean. And that is kind of a critical area because that is where the rim of the round sits, And if there's too much buildup here, maybe the pin won't reach where it needs to hit, So cleaning this groove here is very important, which I didn't do. So I'm glad I saw that. All right, so let me get a punch, some kind of a punch to get that roll pin out so that we can take the firing pin out and see just how dirty or how clean it is. I've got this nail here that looks like it's about that size. I'm just going to take the nail and hold it there. I have a small little hammer. Just going to tap it. As you can see, that part of the roll pin is coming out. There we go. It's not quite. Oh, shoot. Not quite. Oh. As you guys saw, I wasn't prepared for that, and you have to be prepared for anything. Once the roll pin cleared the area where it needed to clear, because it's just sitting there right now, as you can see, right? I banged it out so that it cleared the threshold, the area where the firing pin was held. I wonder if I'm missing parts, but I think this might just be it, okay? So here's the firing pin and the spring. And as you can see, it's clean. So I shot 200 rounds of 22 long rifle through here, and it's very clean. Look, my hand is barely dirty. Look at that tip of that firing pin. It's not what am I trying to say here? It's not perfectly even, you know? It's like jagged. And this is rim fire too, so all you need is something to hit the sides of the rim of the round. It's not, that's interesting. I didn't know that, see? This pin is not rounded or sharp or even, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like off, you know? It's jagged and it's off. That's interesting. And here's where the hammer hits, right there, to push the spring. But as you can see, this is clean too. So if you were to ask me if you need to take apart the bolt carrier group to clean the firing pin, I would say no. As long as you properly blow solvent, gun cleaner through the holes. And then if you used your trusty air compressor and blow the remnants out, the residue, not that there is any, this is, as you guys can see, this is super clean. So I'm a little confused. Why? Is because there's a groove here. Does this part go on the top or the bottom? Does it go like that? Or does it go in like that? You know? Because this groove is what the roll pin holds it onto to prevent it from flying back out again, you know? So I'm a little confused. I don't know if it should go in like that or should it go in like that, you know? When you look at it this way, if you put it in on the bottom, the rimfire pin is on the bottom, and if you had this on the top, the rimfire would be on the top, obviously, or on the side, more like. See? If it was on the bottom, it would be on the right. So I'm not really sure, actually, how to put it in. Do I put it on the bottom or the top? I might have to go and check the internet and see how this goes in. I want to make sure before I put it together, you know? So, you know what I was going to do is I was looking at the Smith & Wesson diagram, and this pin actually is on the bottom. The groove, it tells you it's on the bottom. So that, now I know, okay? While we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and pop this pin completely out, so I can take this part out. This is called a retaining pin or something, right? It holds the extractor together. So I'm going to remove the extractor, even though if you move it with your hands, it has a nice springy clean action. You know, there's no binding or give or any I mean, there's resistance, but there's no binding. You know what I mean? So it's smooth. So I'm pretty confident it's clean. But while I'm here, I figured let me just knock this retaining pin, yeah, the roll pin out a little bit more. See if this thing comes out. No, gotta knock it in a little bit more. There we go. I can feel it came out. I'm just gonna take it out. There it is right there. There's the roll pin. Gotta be careful with the roll pin, because if you mushroom it out, there we go, see? It goes into that hole there. I gotta remember the orientation so I don't screw it up. As you can see, this is clean. It's clean. Little notch here, edges. Hold it. I'm so scared to do this. I pulled that lever back, and it released the catch. And here's the extractor. Inside here is a detent. And the spring. There's a spring. As you guys can see, it is super clean. I'm gonna take some gun cleaner. I'm just gonna blow this out some more. But it's clean. There's nothing in there. It's all clean. So if you ask me, I would say after 200 rounds, no, you don't have to completely disassemble your bolt carrier group. But I guess you have to go with what the situation, you know, calls for. Let's say you don't clean your bolt carrier group for maybe 5,000 rounds or 1,000 rounds. You look at the buildup of the gunpowder and you can gauge whether or not you should or not, you know. But whenever I go, I don't shoot more than 200 rounds at a time, so I would say unless it got really dirty, to take it apart. Now I'm gonna put this all back together again. I hope I remember how. So there you go. As you saw, I was a little confused because I forgot how the orientation was, because I put it where it's supposed to be, but then moving it around, I'm like, well, did that go there or that go there? I eventually figured it out, you know. So this is a completely disassembled bolt carrier group that I cleaned and lubricated now with some CLP. I gotta tell you guys, I'm not just saying this, okay? This stuff is fantastic. Try a bottle, and I guarantee you, you're gonna love it. The only thing you're ever gonna use. Lucas Oil Products makes some good shit. Anyway, so I'm pretty happy with what I did here. I mean, I had to eventually learn how to do it, right? So I was a little apprehensive about doing it. I was a little afraid to do it, you know, afraid I was gonna screw things up. But honestly, it's very straightforward. As you guys have seen from my mowers and blowers videos, I mean, you know, I am kind of technically inclined. But don't be too afraid to do it. It was fine. And like I said before, I don't think after a couple of 100 rounds you need to take this apart and do it. if you're very anal retentive with a little OCD, which I am a little, right? You want to do it when you feel like you've gone through 500 to 1,000 rounds and it might be dirty, or if the extractor here binds. But if you just push it and see how smooth it is, the springy action and the smoothness of it, you really don't need to clean it, I don't think. Just from blowing gun cleaner through this area here. Remember, this is under air pressure, right? So it's going to have a very good blowing action, right? You can blow it into this hole here, that hole here. Use gravity to help you, put, downwards, blow there so that all the dirt comes out somewhere, as opposed to just holding it horizontal like that. And then you could use like an air compressor or something like that. An air compressor is very useful. It really takes out a lot of the dust where you need it. Need the dust to be extracted. The extraction bolt, all that. So that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned something, because I certainly did. To take apart a Smith & Wesson M&P15 22 long rifle rounds, the bolt carrier group disassembly, including the extractor. That I was a little apprehensive about doing for sure, because it was a little bit more in-depth about removing the roll pin to completely disassemble this. But as you guys saw from the video, when I took it apart, only after 200 rounds, it wasn't dirty at all. Then again, I did go through with the Lucas oil gun cleaner and blew into where the firing pin is. So that might have cleaned it. And also with a air compressor, it definitely helps out your job. It's under high pressure, so it'll blow out any kind of gunpowder residue. Now, if you let it sit for a while, it may cake on and be tough to get out, which is why you need like one of these little scrapers and stuff to get to the small crevices to get the dried up gunpowder. Gunpowder's not going to dry unless you have wetness or moisture there, or oil that sits for too long. It'll cake on there, but like I said with the extractor, look, you can just use your finger. You can hear it. Smooth, you know what I mean? But if it binds, then you may have a little bit of gunpowder buildup in there that is preventing it from being so smooth. So, go with your gut and the evidence. If you see a ton of gunpowder buildup after maybe 1,000 rounds or something like that at the range, you may want to take apart the roll pin and the firing pin mechanism and all that stuff to get it completely clean. And this is as good as new right now, you know what I mean? Provided I put it together correctly, but I think I did, So I'm very happy with that. This one here, there wasn't really much to it other than the cotter pin to remove it. You guys with AR-15, 223 or 5.56 chambered platforms, you have a different type of bolt carrier group. It looks different from this. Not all that different, but a little bit different. And you guys have to make the decision on whether or not you feel you've shot enough rounds for it to require a thorough disassembly of your bolt carrier group to clean. But I don't find that you need it for this, and you definitely didn't need it for this. So 130 rounds, not really necessary. 200 rounds, not really necessary. I'll let you guys know after 500 or 1,000 rounds if I just skip a cleaning of this, of the BCG, whether or not, I saw a lot of evidence of, gunpowder buildup. But thanks a lot for joining me on today's episode. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers, Blowers, and Guns. Hey, I'm Henry from Mowers and Blowers. As a YouTuber that deals with small engine equipment on a daily basis, I worry about the harmful effects of the 10% ethanol that's in your unleaded gas from your gas station. Here on the East Coast, as winter nears, I think about storing my summer lawn equipment for the winter. Ethanol absorbs moisture, and what it does is it could rust or corrode and clog up your jets in your carburetor. That's why I use Ethanol Safeguard with stabilizers from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. Before you store your machines, a little bit of Lucas goes a long way. When you're ready to use your machines again, fire right up! Hey, If you guys enjoy the video, remember to give me a like. Also, comment below. Subscribe. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It's free, right? Also, hit that little bell. That way you'll get post notifications whenever there's a new video and you won't miss out on any of them. Remember to follow my Instagram and Facebook, as well as if you'd like to donate $1 or $2, paypal.me/mowersandblowers. Really appreciate all the support. Also, to keep the videos coming every day, support the channel. Bye.